through the magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced podcast of the future. Transformers Slag Podcast. What's up, everybody? How we all doing this Saturday night? We're back to our regular schedule. I apologize about last week. We'll get into that in a moment. But welcome to the Transformers Slag Podcast. If this is the first time you're here, my name's Protoman. I'm the face that runs this place. I'm the voice you hear Monday to Friday, and it is Saturday, and we're going to talk Transformers. We're going to update the news, because it was an interesting week, to say the least. A lot of drama, a lot of new stuff, a lot of new product. Definitely looking into 2026, and that's going to definitely be a majority of the discussion here today. How we all doing? Who do we got in the chat today? We got a lot of people. We got Patrick Brown, what's up, Ninjatron? Clyde, Horndowl, YLagY, Will Murphy, T-Formers 2002, James Hopkins. We got, let's see, Modutron. We got Snell World. We got Ashnut is here. What's up? Roman Schilling. People are still rolling in. It's going to be a crazy one today. Autovolt GTS, one of my patrons. Merrill Fabrication, one of my patrons. Ash Bailey, one of my patrons. All the patrons are coming in too. So, we got a lot to cover. A lot to discuss. A lot of stuff I'm curious what people are excited about, because it's a heavy mixture of things that are popping off, so to speak, for 2026. A very good mix of things. And imagine that's not everything. Like, that's just surface level wave 1, 2, 3, and some stuff left out here and there. But we don't know, like, store exclusives and all kinds of other stuff that could be popping off. I mean, we don't even know San Diego Comic-Con stuff, and that's, only a couple of months away. So it's gonna be an interesting one. But let's jump into it. Let's start, of course, first with the Age of the Prime stuff for 2026, and we got a stacked amount of stuff here. Obviously, like the original 13, those are the ones that are no surprise. The only thing we could really take away from these listings is just knowing their size and how those are going to be done. But at the end of the day, we'll see how that turns out. But that being said, a deluxe class Quintus Prime, pretty hype. I mean, I keep saying to myself, what do you do with some of those tools? Look at those original 13 that we have thus far. Our Solus, our Megatronus, even our Prima. I hate it when people call them Prima. Prima just sounds weird. Sounds like prima donna. Prima, you got so many of those where it's like, where do you go with the tooling with some of those? And some are more obvious than others, but something like a Quintus that, if it's going to be based off of that Cybertronian gold statue on the box, which kind of also pulls from his Transformers 1 design, which we've seen on the trading cards and briefly in the movie, I'm really curious where they could go with that. I really am curious where they could go with that. I'm thinking like a Botanica. That's I always go to that place. Oh, Quintesson, Botanica. Come on. Why aren't we here yet? And a Botanica at a deluxe class could work well with a Rat Trap figure, if we'll ever get a Beast Machines Rat Trap that's done in the modern sense, because Lord knows the two we got, be it McDonald's or official, were not that great. Sure Shot. Yeah, let's complete those Target Masters. That's what I keep saying. And Sure Shot was the first Target Master toy I ever owned, so kind of have a little bit of a bias there too. I just want Sure Shot to happen. Blast Off is no surprise. I mean, we're just going to finish our Bruticus at this point now that we know that's a thing. Deluxe Class Quick Strike I'm hyped about, only because it's like, man, just give me like another of this character. Like he's someone that's like, oh, hey, we got the original toy all those years ago. If you wanted a slightly better deco, the Japanese version gave you like red paint on the eyes, which was a big upgrade, but that made it more show accurate. But then at the end of the day, that trademark was kept alive by just throwing it on anything but the Fusor character. And so it's finally nice to see that come back into action. Just, great character. Colin, who is the voice actor for him, did a fantastic job. Just everything was amazing about Quick Strike, and it's cool to finally get an upgraded version of him. after, dare I say, almost, man, think about it, right? Almost like 30 years. Actually, 30 years it's coming up on. What, in 1998 was 97, I think his figure. Late 97 his figure came out. But yeah, man, like that's crazy. Finally getting a decent upgrade. And then, of course, that looks like a smokescreen reissue of the Earthrise one. That's at least what I think it probably is because they didn't designate it to anything else. I mean, it'd be cool if it was like, I don't know, maybe Aaron Archer would disagree, but it'd be cool if it was an Armada smokescreen. That'd be kind of cool. I don't think I would want him at deluxe though. I think Armada smokescreen, you could do him justice at a Voyager. Make him a nice big like crane truck. That'd be pretty cool. Give him a mini con at the Voyager price point because Liftor is the greatest mini con ever made. If you've ever messed with Liftor, he's pretty cool. He's got a little like Dragon Ball Scouter. He's got a little like ability to actually lift stuff like a forklift. He's very cool. And then Power Glide, much overdue. Power Glide, just he had that Power of the Primes toy, and that was probably the best Power Glide toy up to that point. So hopefully we'll get something that's in that deluxe class, a lot better tooled. We'll get something good out of that. You know, we will see. We will see with him. But as long as we get that veneering detail of a heart in the chest. I mean, we saw how like with Gears he had an opening chest, so we'll maybe have an opening chest for Power Glide also, and we'll have something like that. That'd be pretty cool. Then of course we got Swerve. I mean, this is one where it's like, if you wanted your like IDW, like very slavishly loyal Swerve figure, you already got that through the Generations Thrilling 32 packs that they did. I believe, were those Target exclusives? I know I got them here in Canada from Toys R Us, but I don't think they Target exclusives in the States. I don't remember. But those two packs, you know, were uh, were pretty awesome, and that was a pretty good Swerve figure, but it wasn't exactly like screen accurate or toy accurate to Generation One. It was more just leaning on to what IDW was doing and those Alex Milne designs. So we have something here that's probably going to lean more into that. So it's something that, hey, that's great. And then of course, like they're going to obviously just take the Gears mold and try to build around that. So that's pretty hype. Then of course we got the animated Ratchet. This one I'm kind of on the fence of only because as much as I like animated's a top 3 Transformer series for me, but so many of those old animated figures knocked it out of the park the first time around. Like I'm going to be real with you. Like the Bumblebee that we got, the animated one, that is an improvement of what we got before. If you don't count like the Hydro Dive Bumblebee one. But then when you look at, let's say like Prowl, not so much, not so much. Like there's certain ones. So it's like, I wonder how much better could this be from the deluxe that we got before? Because the deluxe we got before was almost made out of a completely different time in terms of how the budgeting would work for deluxes, having all those extra pieces, you know? So it's something that like, how would they be able to pull that off? Give all those like, you know, all those different pieces and parts and tools and I mean in a deluxe price point too, like, deluxes already are pretty small to begin with, so I don't know. Like, I look at like the Motor Master and I think that that's an improvement of what we got before from Bakon. I own the original Bakon one, so it's not even like me of a bias of going like, "Oh, now I'm able to get it cheaper." No, I own the original Bakon one, and I think that the recent one is better than the Bakon one. Don't spend hundreds of dollars on the Bakon one. Go get the new one. It's way better. It's better tooled and everything. I never was a big fan of that Voyager class Optimus to begin with. It always kind of had a weird weapon. So, I mean, there is some improvements, but how are they going to improve Ratchet? I'm very curious. And then from Ratchet, are they going to do Ironhide? Are they going to do the Cybertronian alt modes afterwards? Which have more of those like, tread legs. So there's probably a lot built in there that they could have fun with. But at the same time, what do you do afterwards too? The Prime Cliff Jumper, I'm assuming it's that 4-pack. They're just going to take that and make it a singular release so people get an opportunity to get that without having to bust the bank. Then we get into the Voyagers. So we got Amalgamus. So, I mean, that's a character. It's like, what is he going to look like? The best I could pull from is that statue from the original 13. He's got that, multiple hands. He's got the Shockwave Mono Eye. He's got the transformation cog that's probably going to be his weapon or his like, included accessory. So we got that going on. But aside from that, hard to say what to expect with that one, although he's probably the biggest mystery of the bunch. I mean, even all those years ago when you read The Covenant of Primus, you would look at that art of him that was done by Ken Christensen and you go like, what is going on here? It's just transformation cogs and all kinds of wildness. So, but yeah. Then you got Brawl, Voyager class. This is the one where I'm speculating, they're going to have some extra parts and pieces and weapons and, maybe combiner limbs or whatever, add some extra fun to it. Maybe also by putting it in the Voyager, it gives it a little more beef to be a proper tank, but still be scaled enough that he won't look weird as a swappable limb or something with the combiners. Because you know how it's going to be. They're still going to do the skeletal structure for Onslaught to make Bruticus. So him being a Voyager, it's going to be the similar case, like let's say Hot Rod from Studio Series 86, where it's like, oh, it's clearly a deluxe class figure, but let's give it a little more oomph. Let's give it some articulated hands. Let's give him more weapons. Let's give him like an opening chest. Let's give him a flip down visor. Add all that extra, but it's still a Voyager and justify it in some way. So I'm pretty sure there's something that we'll learn about later on that'll make sense with that. What's up, Aaron? And then, of course, we have the animated Rekgar. Again, another case of how do you improve what Eric Siebeneller and the crew did back then? Like, how do you do better than that? Because, again, not to throw shade at the modern market, but Voyagers today have less of a budget to work with as opposed to compared to when, Rekgar came out in 2009, 2010. The paint budget, the translucent budget, it's just not the same anymore. So it's like, how much better could this be when the original pretty much was perfect? I mean, outside of him being able to have an opening chest where he could throw stuff all over the place, it's like, so I'm very curious how they're going to go about that. And then what do you repaint it afterwards? Some people were speculating they're just going to take the Junkion dump truck and just give it a hot and dirty retool. And I'm like, gosh, I hope that's not the case. I hope we get something that's really, loyal to the Derek Wyatt design and the Eric Siebeneller tooling and everything, and maybe do maybe a different twist on it. But I would like to see what they do. I would like to see what they do because a Trash Master retool would not do it justice. It really would not. And it would be a shame because to get a Rekgar vintage, and we say vintage in air quotes here, but to get a Rekgar today, I mean, good luck. Good luck. Uh, Patrick Brown, do we get a Swindle in 2027? He's not on the list. I imagine he will. I mean, it's the same thing. We're missing one of our original 13 here on the list. And not to mention, I think that these lists here don't represent 100% everything we're getting in 2026. There's still, again, store exclusives. We're forgetting, later wave items. Because if you really count it, right? Like if you really count it like the deluxes, right? And you assume that there's no fillers, which usually they include fillers, we only have like 2.5 waves here. We got like a wave one, a wave two, and then half. So, and Mark, Evan, and Nate said that like, yeah, they're going to be cutting it down to 3 waves a year, but we're still kind of missing some stuff. So Mariel Fabrication Rekar must come with a voice box like we're you know what, Meryl? I'll tell you this right now. I'm complaining about how they probably won't have the budget for plastic size and paint. A voice box is totally out of the question. We are not in the Unicron trilogy Aaron Archer era where a Red Alert could get away with a voice box and lights and sounds. The budget and the nickel and diming in a much weaker toy economy is not the way to go about it. And not to mention, let's be real, let me turn my head here. When was the last time our like mainline collector based generations, and I'm doing air quotes here, had a voice box? I mean, gosh, I'm actually pausing here for a second. Was it the end of like classics with like Power Glide, the large one? No, I must be forgetting something. Oh, I guess maybe some of the Titan classes, if you count like Metroplex. If you count the first Titan, he kind of had a voice box and lights, and I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I don't think they'd want to do that. No, Knight Rider wouldn't count because that's more the crossover stuff. I'm talking more like our mainline retail, deluxe Voyager generations kind of thing. Because then that falls because like Agent Knight Rider, Kit, that falls into the specialty category. That's its own price point. It's not even a price point, it's just its own price. Um the one Optimus logo, it sounds. Which one are you referring to, Aaron? That one Optimus Autobot logo, it sounds. Which one are you referring to? I don't know. Like when was the last Aaron, during your time up into 2015, was there anything in Universe 2.0 or Generations Thrilling 30 that had lights and sounds? I don't think so. I'm looking at my collection now, and I like to believe I'm fairly complete. I mean, outside of repainting and reintroducing like the Bruticus Maximus there, the repaint of Flame Convoy. Like what was there? Not movie stuff though. I'm talking like classics, like classics, Universe 2.0, Generations, which would later on become Combiner Wars and all that stuff. I don't think yeah. Titans Return, Fort Max, and Metroplex. I think that's where it ended. It really ended with those two. So in order to get lights and sounds, we had to be at a Titan class price point. Isn't that wild? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Universe Onslaught Transfan, you might be right. It's true. He had little stuff going on there. He had sound effects. We had an upgrade kit for TFCon back in the day with that one. Yeah, that might be where it ends. That might be where it ends. Huh. Yeah, that might be where it ends. Anyways, going off of a tangent here, but it did make me think. But yeah, yeah, well, it is what it is. So, what do we got next? Then, of course, we got off. How could we forget about this? And Aaron's here in the chat. Voyager class Armada Sideways. This one here is probably the one I'm the most excited of the bunch, only because of just the fact that it's a Voyager class right away tells me, yeah, they have to have the mini cons. They're going to do a Sideways that's going to be in that deluxe price point that turns into that nice fat motorcycle design, but they're going to be able to like make it sleek and articulated and do stuff that obviously the original toyetic uh, Armada toy could not do. And then it's going to include, Crosswise and Rook, the two mini cons, which I hope are going to be able to combine and make the larger mini con. I hope that they're going to be able to make the head design. Again, when you have that Voyager price point now, it leads to more wiggle room to do all that kind of stuff. And that's super exciting. That's really, really, really cool. And then, I mean, what do you do with that afterwards? Well, I guess if they want to do what was it called? Rapid Run was the repaint, they called it, the yellow repaint from Energon. If they want to do a deep cut of a character that had like zero story, we'll do the Rapid Run yellow repaint from Wave 1 Energon. I guess there's not much else you can really do with that. Give them a Unicronian color scheme, maybe. Then, of course, we got the Voyager class Nexus Prime. This one, I mean, I've seen people discussing this one going, this could be a centerpiece for combiners, just done in a different way. Some people are saying how this is just going to be a traditional transforming item, but maybe they're going to think the long game and give it connecting pieces that are similar to Combiner Wars. And then you could take your old Combiner Wars guys and attach them, and that would be like a deep cut. You know what? That would be awesome, but I don't think they would do that. I don't think the modern guys are gonna be like, hey, remember what John Warden did with those universal ports back in like 2015, 16? Why don't we just do that and then sell it as a Voyager like we did with the others? I mean, that is wild if they do that. That would be wild, but at the same time, who knows? It's another one that's an enigma along with the Amalgamus. How are they going to go about that? How are they going to go about that? And then the leaders, the big one here, big convoy, no pun intended. We knew he was coming because of the box art tease with Magmatron, with the Commander class. Again, The original figure was absolutely amazing. So if they just are able to maintain like a removable matrix, the big convoy blaster, the matrix blaster, if you want to call it that, big cannon, multiple names on that. Are they going to make that screen accurate? Or are they going to do something like they did with like the reissue that had the screen accurate repaint? Is it going to come with Navi? Is it going to have the extra accessories? Again, it's a leader class, so it leads to a little more wiggle room for budget and to do some fun stuff there. So we will see. The award for the most obvious repaint of all time, the leader class universe Razor Claw. Yeah, man, again, that's Aaron Archer era stuff. Let's take that Tiger Hawk and give it the evil Unicronian repaint of Universe Razorclaw. No surprise there. My only thing is, I was actually kind of expecting it to be something like that, maybe being a Generation Selects item, as opposed to like a mainline item here. But yeah, hey, it's here. It's cool. Now we need like Cryotech and a few other of those obvious leader repaints, but very, very cool. Our commander class, no surprise with that one, of course, is going to be Onslaught. Again, no surprises there. And then, of course, we have one Generation Selects item here. I don't know if it's a two pack. It looks like because the product number here is a two pack, but that would be a two pack of 2 liters, which is fascinating. But we got Generation Selects G2 Swoop and Sludge in their unreleased G2 colors. So expect a green Swoop and an orange Sludge. Go check out my individual segment if you want to see the full color history of G2 Dinobots and all their wackiness. And again, Mark and Evan, they like to complete the collection. And if they're giving us a G2 Grimlock, those boys are coming. So those boys are coming at some point. And yeah, that's the first chunk of 2022. But then we have, of course, let's get into Studio Series, which is a whole other kettle of fish. And again, need I remind everyone, this is not everything, because if you really price it, like, look, if you really like piece it out, if you look at just the deluxes, we only have like 2.5 waves here. So it's not all of the product. It's just early, probably 2026 product, maybe late 2025. So this is not everything. If something is missing, it probably will show up at some point. Uh, what do we have here? Big 2026 is taking all of my future money. Yeah, there is a lot of really good stuff here. I will give you that. Link CW, but think as a bonus for HasLab, wouldn't it be cool to have a swappable chess piece for Death Cobra that gives his Death Wound blast effect? Well, again, Link CW, we don't know the bonus items yet that are included. Historically, up to this point, every single Transformers HasLab, after it's gotten backed, has had little bonus items revealed. The Unicron had the little Slug figures, and by Slug I don't mean the the Dinobot. I mean like little mini figures that were included with the set. Star Saber and Thesaurus had the Micromasters, excuse me, that made the whole complete rescue team. When we had our Omega Prime, we have the extra Titan Master that was revealed at San Diego Comic Con by yours truly. um, and yeah, so probably there's going to be something included. There'll be extra bonuses. I'm kind of hoping for, again, Clipper. That'd be kind of cool. Clipper, and then hey, we'll both be happy. We'll get Clipper, and we'll get the changeable chess piece of the death of Death Cobra at the hands of the ever clumsy Hellbat. But we will see what happens with that. Let's get into these. So we got the deluxe class. First, we have A class or A level. That means a standalone case when it's going to be shipped. So that adds to another thing too, where once again you are not looking at everything here because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 deluxes, and 2 of them are not even going to be in the Wave 1 case assortment. They're going to be standalone in their own cases. And that means there's still a lot left to be shown. And again, in this case, Devastation Bumblebee, which, if you look at a Devastation Bumblebee specifically as alt mode and how he was in the video game, is pretty much a leaner, cleaner, Fluoro Deary Classics Bumblebee. It takes that Classics Bumblebee. Heck, if you look at the animation model in the game, his knees still have the vented engine, but uh, when you look at his alt mode, he doesn't have the vented engine anymore. So clearly they were pulling from the classics version a lot, which I believe was Who did the Classics one? Aaron, do you remember who did Classics Bumblebee 2006? Was that also Ken? I don't remember who did that. And then of course we got the A level Transformers 1 Orion packs. This is, and we're going to get into this, especially with all the other ones. Give me all the Transformer 1 characters. We didn't get our movie to sell well. At least give me all the merchandise because we didn't get it out of the get go. The one thing we were all very spoiled with all the past movies up to a certain point, especially with 2007 and Revenge of the Fallen, we all got pretty decent figures out of the get go. Like, you saw the 2007 movie, there was a pretty decent Barricade. There was a pretty decent Bumblebee. There was a pretty decent Optimus. Obviously we get better versions down the line, but we got pretty decent stuff. Where now we have this silly divorce of like gimmicky mainstream stuff, and then all the effort and tooling and proper engineering is going to go into studio series, but then we're going to drip feed you those characters over a period of time. Where, I mean, we're still waiting on certain Rise of the Beast items to get decent figures. So kind of live in a different world, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. But hey, we're finally getting a decent Orion Pax. But again, and I said this before in the individual segment, he's going to be a deluxe. And that means he's going to be pretty much the same height as our Optimus Deluxe that we got, where I'm now kind of hoping maybe they'll revisit Optimus and Megatron as Voyagers, make them larger. And yeah, it'll just be cool. It'll just be better that way. And then we'll get some of the minors and stuff, and they'll be core classes or something. I know we don't have core class, but maybe make them core classes, and everyone will be in scale. You know what? Or blockies. If they do a couple blockies of the minors, that way we don't have to worry about transformation. Have to explain it to the retail world. Why don't they transform? Yeah, give me a whole bunch of blockies. Like do a whole blockies wave of 9 minors. Minors. But yeah, and then of course we got Transformers The Last Night Barricade. Here's an example, like I just said before, going back to the Optimus. When The Last Night debuted, it had a pretty good toy line out of the gate. It was called the Premier line of movie toys. This is before, just before Studio Series became a thing. And that Barricade figure was pretty good from the get go. So I imagine they're just gonna, I guess, put more articulation and paint. I assume that's what I'm assuming at least, but we'll see. I mean, that original toy had 2 different guns, had a great transformation. It's pretty good. So I'm curious how they'll tackle that one. Then of course we got 86 Wind Charger, much like the Power Glide, desperately needed to get a brand new toy. His trademark is going to be up in November of 2026. So no surprise that this product is coming out because his trademark is literally going to be expiring. And they did nothing in that 4-year stretch. So much like Power Glide, it's going to happen. And I mean, his last figure in Power of the Primes wasn't that great. He had a really good one in Reveal the Shield. That Reveal the Shield Wind Charger still holds up to this day. Fantastic. Like those scout classes back then, man, where some of them were some fantastic molds. And Wind Charger definitely was part of that. So if you could pick up even that old one, whether it be the Reveal the Shield one or the Japanese version, which had the not the Tampo, excuse me, the rub sign was the American one, the Tampo was the Japanese one. Both of them are great. I think he comes in a 2-pack. I mean, fantastic stuff. 86 Sunstreaker. I think they're just taking that Autobot 5-pack and giving you an opportunity to not have to buy an Autobot 5-pack for almost $200. That's what I think's happening with that one. Will it be better or worse? I don't know. Uh, I mean, the best case scenario is it's a brand new tooling from the ground up, and they give us a brand new Sunstreaker that's more screen accurate. But I mean, if stuff like RC or Galvatron or any indication, maybe it's just safer to just do slight retools of what already has been tooled from the past, even if it is an old Earthrise product from, man, almost 6 years now. So then we got Kranix. This one's pretty cool. I'm an 86 guy, so Kranix, he's going to have his Marvel Comics transformation. He's a deluxe class now, so no more little tiny, you know, Pit of Judgment figure being your only Kranix figure unless you went third party. So very, very cool. dig that. And then of course you're going to get a repaint into Obelisk. You're going to get maybe Nancy the Junkion, which would be pretty cool if they do Nancy. Add more female characters. That'd be very awesome. Well, kind of an absence of female characters here, actually, now that I think about it, but still cool. Then, of course, 86 Cliff Jumper. This is probably a partial and retool of the 86 Bumblebee we got. So there's going to be no surprises there. By doing it in that style, you kind of skirt avoiding the Porsche trademark and all that stuff. So no surprises with that one. And I love Cliff Jumper. Like Cliff Jumper and Braun are like neck and neck as my favorite mini bots. I like them both. They were both like very, very charismatic and fun in the 86 cartoon, excuse me, in the 84 cartoon. So I'm looking forward to them. Then of course, Transformers Thundercracker, you know, in the case this here, Transformers 1. So bring on the Seekers. We know that we're getting a Starscream. That Starscream is going to be revealed to us before the end of the year. And when you see that Starscream, you're going to see Thundercracker, you're going to see Skywarp, you're going to see Red Wing, you're going to see Slipstream. Bring on the Seekers. They're all coming. They're all coming at some point. And then we got Transformers 1 Arachnid. This one is good only because Arachnid kind of got the bum deal when it came to action figures for the Transformers 1 line. Her one step, or her, I guess we'll call it cog changer, as she was called, was designed so early in the production of the movie that her cog changer was actually based on her early ideas of what her alt mode was going to be. There was an early sketch design of what her alt mode was, and it was going to be like a kind of spider drone thing, very similar to like Tarantulas' drones that he used to have in Beast Wars. And they just kind of based it on that, not knowing that that would get changed, and then she would be an actual kind of copter drone thing, and the rest was history. So Deluxe Class, she's going to be pretty cool. I'm down. I just hope that they have the budget to give her all her legs and make her look awesome. I look at the Black Arachnia that we got in Kingdom, and that kind of gives me an idea of how much they could squeeze out of the budget to do all of that and make it work. So very, very cool. Let's get into the Voyagers. Voyager class, and here I'll do these in a pair, and I'm going to pull something up here. So we got Voyager class, 86 Skywarp and Thundercracker. So this guy here, and literally when I bought it when it was brand new, I kept it in the box only because when this guy came out, we had the listings for the Studio Series 86 Starscream. And the second I saw that listing, I right away stopped myself. This thing is still sealed. And I stopped myself from opening, going like, why do I get a feeling something better is going to come along? And if I keep it sealed, you'll get some mint and bot. Look, it has dust on it. I'll keep it sealed, and some mint and box collector will want to buy this off of me, and then I'll get the better versions. And I feel we're going to get the better versions here with the 86 ones, because if you messed with the Studio Series 86 Starscream, articulated hands, better tooling, obviously it's not going to have all the extras that a leader class Studio Series 86 Starscream has, but they'll probably use at least that figure as the base for it. And then we'll get two really good additions to it that are more, I guess, color accurate. And better yet, it gives people opportunities to pick it up, because this guy right here, again, I got this in Toys R Us in Canada. I think this was a Target exclusive. Was it Target? So, and then people were, $200 they were paying for this stupid thing, which you should not pay. Do not pay that. When I'm going to sell it, I'm not going to ask 200. I'm just going to want to get my money back. But, so it's something where, pretty wild, pretty wild. So we'll see how it's tackled. But again, I'm glad that it's happening just because it gives people an opportunity to pick it up again. Again. Where are we at here? T-Formers, it's playing ads. They're playing ads during my live stream. So I just want to warn people, this has been something that content creators have been having with recently. I didn't know that. I thought it was supposed to be in May they were going to be starting this. Supposedly YouTube now is auto adding commercials now to stuff. I know they were doing it to my videos, like they were just randomly putting it in places. I didn't know they were doing it in my live streams, but they said they were going to do it in May. Really? You saw an ad? Man, that fucking sucks. I don't want it coming in the middle of my live stream. Giggity. Anyways, hope that's not a common thing because then that's going to push people back and they're going to miss stuff. That sucks. But yeah, well, again, it's going to give people an opportunity. So we'll see what happens with that. Studio Series 86 Shockwave, my boy Shockwave. I mean, like it's something where how are they going to do this? Like, are they going to do what they like? So you have the Siege mold, and then they took the Siege mold, and in Japan they did dramatic capture that set there, and they didn't include all that extra. I'll call it the Shiva design um, Shockwave. So they didn't include all those extras, and it looks screen accurate in robot mode, but then you kind of have this bizarre upside down laser gun battleship mode that they're still forcing in there. So I don't know. I do not know. But yeah, it is what it is. Then we got TF1 Alpha Trion Voyager class. We needed this. I don't want to throw shade at the mainline one, but the mainline one was what it was. It was very limited in its but it's that not deluxe scale, like 3 paint hits on it. Uh, Obviously designed and tooled very early in the production of the movie. So the final design for Alpha Trion in terms of like the veneering and detail was not 100%. The paint is in there, like I said, like maybe 3 paint hits on the whole thing. So it's something where now it's a Voyager. It'll have that mossy kind of paint look to it, which will look cool. I'm sure it'll be awesome. And Lawrence Fishburne will be very proud. It'll be pretty cool. Leader class. This is a perplexing one. So leader class 86 Soundwave. So are we getting Soundwave in a brand new tooling like Evan and Mark have talked about? Are they just reissuing the legacy leader class right away that we already got and just maybe changing the cassettes that come with it? Oh, instead of it being, Buzzsaw and Rumble, it'll be Frenzy and Laserbeak or something, like, or actually the other way around, but you know what I mean. And then they'll do something with the Ravage. I don't know. Obviously, it's going to come with cassettes because it's a leader class. Soundwave doesn't fall into the leader class category. But the question is it new tooling? Is it old tooling that's just given a extremely screen accurate treatment? Is it just a straight up repack of what we got with Legacy, with Wave 1? We will see. Not Wave 1 Legacy, Wave 1 Legacy United, excuse me. But we will see. We will see. Same thing with the Astro Train. Is it a brand new tooling? Is it the Astro Train that we got in Siege given the dramatic capture treatment? Or is it a brand new tooling from the ground up that's extremely screen accurate? I mean, if it's Studio Series 86, I would like to believe that they're trying to be as screen accurate as possible without interpretations and I don't know. That's a tough one. I hope that it's something from the ground up. Astro Train's easily my favorite of the Decepticon triple changers. And while I kind of dig his Siege one, I really want something that looks like he does in the movie. So we'll see what happens with that. 86 Snarl, straight up reissue. And again, rightfully so. 86 Snarl goes for like $100 to $120 on eBay. Don't pay that. Just be patient. Reissues are coming, if not already. I know some reissues of all, like I think Hasbro put up pre-orders for him early, but apparently, he's going to be again hitting stores through Studio Series 86 later on too. So, hey man, just wait. You'll get your opportunity. And then the TF5, aka the Last Night Nemesis Prime, they're going to take our Age of Extinction Prime new mold that we just got, give it a brand new paint deco, and yeah, it's going to have the red paint on the face. Maybe they'll retool the sword. Maybe include a little extra translucent Quintessa figure like they did back in the day with the Infernicus. We will see. We will see with that one. And then we got this new capsule here, which you could guess along with me what potentially this could be in terms of which retailer will carry it. But a brand new capsule celebrating the anniversary. They say 30th anniversary here. I think they mean 40th anniversary because 2026 will be the 40th anniversary of the 86 movie. Um, but then you got here, anniversary Hound. Is it just the Autobot 5 pack and now here's a way to get it singularly? The Voyager class Scourge. that mold got out there pretty well, and then the sweep was put out there and put the mold out even more. So who wants this still? Yeah, it'll be 6 years since the first one came out, but who's waiting for it? The hot rod, and it's not just my biased. I mean, I was surprised, and it was Jaws D that brought this up to me. Um, yeah, hot rod goes for crazy money now because Jaws D was at TFCon, the one that just passed in LA, and people were asking mint inbox Studio Series 86 Voyager class hot rods for $150 to $200, and people are paying that. So yeah, let's give another opportunity for people to get hot rod. That's pretty crazy how much he's going for. So, and it's nuts because in 2020 he was a wave one figure, and then he got reissued in 2021 again. Apparently that didn't help the market. Big Bot Bodega with the gold $10 super chat. Thank you, Big Bot. I recently canceled 7 Hasbro Pulse orders because I found the bots in stores. Never experienced this with Hasbro Pulse. Hasbro is prioritizing retailers. What do you make of that? That seems to be a common problem that's been happening for about the past 2 years now, and from my own personal experience. And I always feel Quebec sometimes gets stuff last because I'll tell you this, Big Bot, I'm already seeing Age of the Prime stuff in stores as of like last week, and you know there's people that pre-ordered on Hasbro Pulse and haven't gotten their stuff yet. So it's not that they prioritize; it's that they have a distributor, stuff gets shipped out, and then it's a matter of when does it hit stores. So I'm pretty sure there is street dates. It's just you can't police every single toy manager in every Walmart and Target and Toys R Us. Although we'll talk about Toys R Us later because they're going through some trouble right now, even in good old Canuckville. So but it's not that they're prioritizing. Everything gets shipped out from the factories and then later on the packaging facilities. It's just how distribution works. And I've said this before, every single Walmart and every single Target and Toys R Us is its own entity with its own toy manager, with its own shelving stock. If you live somewhere where shelving is always packed and nothing ever sells, good luck with that wave one getting to wave two if your toy manager isn't a bro. Yeah, here in Montreal, we always had like the one Toys R Us we knew to go to because the toy manager at that time always used to get like new product regardless if it made sense or not. And that's just, you just got to know where to go for wherever you live. So I think it's just bad luck and well, maybe good luck in your case because you ended up getting it early, but it is what it is. It's look, again, I literally went to Walmart today and saw Red Alert, I saw Constructicons, I saw uh I saw Jazz, which clearly that case assortment of the first wave of the new because I saw Jazz and Wheeljack, but I didn't see the rest of them. I didn't see Prima. Prima's the one I'm trying to hunt down if I could get it locally for a decent price. But I didn't see Prima. That clearly got bought up. But I'm already seeing like the latest Studio Series and the latest Age of the Prime stuff locally here in Quebec. And again, Quebec is usually one of the last places to get it. So that's saying something. That's saying something. But yeah, thank you for the $10 super chat. And that's kind of what I make of it, really, in a lot of ways. But hey, you got rid of 7 pre-orders. Maybe you saved on shipping. At least I want to believe that. I don't know. There's got to be some rainbow in this scenario of good news from your find. Who knows? Maybe it goes on sale and then you could go back and price match everything, and then you save money even more. Who knows? Keep the bill because you never know. Keep the bill. And then our last one here, our leader class Optimus Prime. Some people are saying, oh, maybe they're going to take the the leader class that we got from Earthrise and just paint it up again and release it just one more time. Maybe they're going to take just the studio series, but just the robot mode, and then include it in the box, and then include just some accessories. But we'll see. We'll see. That one's another big question mark because you definitely it's not going to be the studio series item commander class reissued, so it's got to be something very different than that. But yeah, Link CW, the person you should be thanking is Mr. Tankies, who I don't know if he is here today, but he's the one who gifted a whole bunch of subs not too long ago to a whole bunch of people. Um, Patrick Brown, you got all of yours locally. Well, there you go. Yeah, they started showing up now recently. Like it's, I mean, me, oops, close this. Me, the only thing that I really picked up, like I'll get into what I got in a moment, but the only stuff I've really picked up, because some of them I could wait for sales, but there's certain ones I want to own, mint in box, nice. And Prima is one of them, original 13. There's kind of something special about that to me. So that's one of those cases. Got a lot of super chats popping in here all at once, too. I hope that's not because of the ads, but we'll start with Snell World. Picked up a boxed sealed MP10 last weekend at Toylanta. Looking forward to Sure Shot next year. That Optimus is awesome. Me and Jaws D, uh, when they did a what do you call it? They did a Hong Kong reissue of that MP10 on I forget which website it was, but me and Jaws D bought a case together, and still to this very day, uh Josdy opened it up at my place and was like, you could keep the box because the box was too big and he had to use public transit to get back home at the time. So like I still have the box in my garage somewhere because in my mind I'm like, oh, one day I'll find a loose, complete MP10 that someone doesn't want and I'll buy it off them and then put it in the box and resell it because that's how my brain works for the secondary market. But I still have it to this day. That's very cool. That's a great figure. Great figure. And I mean, it still scales with like MP44 and even the new one that we're going to be talking about today. They all scale the same. So it's a great figure. Fantastic figure. Still holds up. I still think it's amazing. Uh, T Formers 2002 with the $5 super chat. Prima is short packs against 2 red alerts. Are you serious? Oh my goodness. Why would they do that? And he's been going fast to find several RAs, but no Primus. Yeah, that's my case. Like again, it looked like I saw I think it was 4 red alerts and no Primus. So I guess that means 2 cases were opened in my case. No pun intended. So thank you for that info. I did not know that. And then Space Ghostal, how you doing, Space Ghostal? Does retail like Walmart have a deal to get products before places like Big Bad Toy Store, or it's just luck of the draw? Again, it's literally you are at the will. Like your individual Walmart. Let's say you live in Plattsburgh, New York, right? Let's use like a small town, America. You live in Plattsburgh, New York, which has, and I could speak of personal experience because I go there all the time. You have a Target, you have a Walmart. They used to have a Kmart, but you have a Target and a Walmart. That's it in that Plattsburgh, and you're at the will of that toy manager. What he's going to order, what he decides to put out there. Yeah, they're sent SKUs from head office. Like their head office sends them a SKU, and the SKU, for people who don't know, that's kind of like the layout for the toy section for each individual section. They're going to send a SKU, but it's up to the manager if he's putting out that product or if he feels like, okay, these Mario toys or these Beyblades, they've not been selling and they're taking up space, but I need to get them out of here first. So you're at the will of every single toy manager. And some people have really good Walmarts that have a lot of, and it's a catch 20 because you might have a lot of traffic at your Walmart, meaning like a lot of stuff gets sold. So they always are refreshing with new product. But then, you also have difficulty finding product if, oh, they get new product and then it sells out. I had a Walmart near, this is Proto Man lore. Let's go back like almost 20 years. I used to work at a Burger King that was across from a Walmart, and it was a super high traffic area where this Burger King and Walmart was. So we used to go there almost every single day. We, meaning me and a friend of mine, we used to go every single day toy hunting after work. And the traffic there was so crazy that sometimes I would see Energon toys. Again, it shows how long ago this was. I used to see Energon toys once, pick it up off of the shelf. I'd go back the next day, never saw that figure ever again. Um, Omega Sentinel was one good example. Wing Saber. What was another one that like I saw it once and then that was it. There was a few of them. The Dreadwing repaint. There's a few, but so sometimes it's like, hey, you're at the will of that toy manager and their distributor and how they get stuff and the city that you live in. You know, that's why like it's great that we live in an age where we could pre-order stuff. and buy it directly from Hasbro Pulse and not have to worry about using gasoline to go every day to Walmart to hope that you're going to find something, or Target. So we kind of have that advantage at least. But the flip side of it is if you're someone who wants to get it right away, I can't make promises on who's going to get it first. I mean, it's as someone who lives in Canada, sometimes we get items before everyone else. Sometimes they get items before everyone else. More times it's more so than Canada. So it's just how it is. I'm pretty sure Aaron has his own 2 cents on that too because he knows it. Ashna, the warehouse fills pallets to be sent to the whole region. If you're part of a busy region, you get it sooner. Exactly. It's all about how busy your ecosystem is, you know? And I mean, it doesn't even mean if you live in a dusty, no name town. You might be in a dusty, no name town that has one Walmart, but because the whole city shops at that one Walmart, the toy aisle is always emptied out. So then you always get new stock. But you might live in a very big city, and then the one Walmart that is next to you in that big city doesn't get a lot of traffic, and as a result, it's the worst Walmart to go to because it never gets replenished. So it's all over the place. It's all over the place. The Energon swoop and Grimlock. I don't remember if that was that. This is gonna say what read. I got it at Zeller's, that one. So I think Zeller's had a few of those left over. Zeller's was like Target here in Canada. We don't have that anymore. Kind of miss Zeller's, but you know what was great about Zeller's? Just to kind of like for Canadians for a moment, what was great about Zeller's is they would never get rid of anything. They would like there is toys that were in Zeller's that have been there for like 7 years, and they would just sit there forever. And what was great about that is sometimes you'd be like a movie would come out, they'd have a toy line of that movie. You wouldn't see that movie for whatever reason, and then like 4 years later, you watch it on VHS or DVD, and then you go, "Oh, that's really cool." And then you go to Zeller's one day, and the toys are still there at full price because that's how Zeller's was. And then you can pick it up off the shelf. You know, I mean, I picked up old War Planet toys. I picked up be real talk. I swear on my collection, everything. I picked up Beast Wars drill bit. Beast Wars drill bit, which was 1997 that figure came out. I picked it up in 2006 from Zellers. So almost 10 years later, two drill bits, two of them. I bought two of them and then I sold them at a show because I already had a loose one complete. That's how Zellers was back in the day. Two drill bits. Now, granted, I paid full price, $7.99, which was it probably sat in that sticker forever, but that was Zellers back in the day. They also had Scavenger, like Transmetal Scavenger forever. Didn't pick him up, but probably should have. Anyways, um, yeah, Zellers was great. It was great. It was great in a good and bad way. Bad because they would never get new stock sometimes, but good because they would sit on things forever and it would never go on sale. But then as time progresses, you go, oh, hey, mint in box copy of Earthbound that's been sitting in the glass case. Opportunities present themselves. Real story, real talk. Two mint in box copies of Earthbound. But yeah, going off on a tangent there. But thank you for the super chats. Those were some really good ones. But we're not done yet because we also have this one here. So let's talk about MPG. Let's talk about Masterpiece MPG 17. We talked about it last week, but now we got more information, way better photos now. And of course, like I always say, wait for Hasbro Pulse because they're going to be able to pick it up and you'll get it cheaper than what even the yen currency exchange will be. So if you did the yen exchange on MPG 17, it comes to about 125 to almost like I think like 130ish or something, maybe even more than that. But it's something where if you wait it out, here we'll just zoom in here one moment because these are such nice photos. Let's just get it all in here. Get all the goodness. I think it was actually came to like 230 or something. So you could get MPG here from Hasbro Pulse 174.99 as opposed to 230 with the exchange. So you get a good opportunity. And this is the style generation, which is they're going for a fusion of all kinds of different ideas. I really think that this might be a whole new idea that they're going with, where we might get like a style generation Megatron that's going to come with like a mix of movie and Armada and like maybe manga and stuff like that. So very very cool. I dig the antennas. I dig the shoulder cannon. We'll get into a moment. My only thing I don't dig is look at the back of the truck. So obviously, how they fold the detail for the front of the I guess we'll call it the quads and the legs of the Optimus. You have the front of the back of the truck, excuse me, has to kind of have those pieces there. I'm pretty sure they could be folded down in truck mode, but that's just kind of how they intend to have it. So kind of wackadoo there in a lot of ways. But otherwise, look at all the accessories. Oh, we got a super chat. Modutron Prime with a $5 super chat. Hey, Proto, when do you think Outback trademark will get a renewal and be used for Transformers, since currently safe bet is probably safe with GI Joe? I was literally just about to say that as I was reading it. GI Joe keeps Outback alive, so it's something where I'm sure we'll get one. We have I believe, a toy version of Brawn is going to be happening in that carded Walmart exclusive line, like that G1 carded look, but it's using generation style figures, or in this case, Studio Series 86 Brawn. So I'm sure at some point they'll take that tooling and they'll do Outback, and Outback's cool. Like, fun fact about Outback, he was the first ever mini bot to have an accessory. He had a little cannon and stuff, so it'd be cool for him to have his cannon, and then he could like clip it on somewhere. They'll obviously give him a 5 millimeter peg for that. So I can't wait for Outback. Again, I love Brawn and I love Cliff Jumper, and as a result, because I love Brawn so much, Outback kind of gets that love too, because he's kind of like the same tooling and stuff. He has like the cool face. So he's the crikey. He's the crocodile hunter. So I dig him. I kind of hope that they do an Outback soon. He'd be really really cool. But yeah, his trademark's safe. That's one of those they're not rushing, only because it's kind of like Roadblock. Roadblock is a Transformer character. He's a GI Joe character. So you could kind of throw it in different places. Oh, we're not doing a Roadblock in GI Joe. Quick, do a construction vehicle Roadblock or an Energon character named Roadblock. Always happens. So hope that kind of clears that up, Mototron. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Getting back to Optimus here, he's got his two swords. He's got the Energon axe. He has the other axe that homages the Netflix one. He's got his cannon. He's got a Matrix of Leadership, which we saw through the live stream that they did to Kara. They can all be stored on the back here. A lot of cool detail and everything. Again, this guy, 174.99, so you're saving about $30 if you don't buy it through a Japanese importer. And of course, if you get free shipping, if you're with Pulse Premium and stuff, and this is planned to ship out March 31st, 2026. So you are going to be waiting a bit, though. That's the only thing. You're going to be waiting about a year for this to come out. But I am very curious how this is going to be used to affect other stuff. Like, are we going to get a Megatron that's kind of done in the style? Are they going to revisit Hot Rod? Are they going to revisit like a Starscream and do him as a mixture of stuff? Like, are they going to like do Starscream MPG style generations, and he's going to come with a Star Saber blade, and he's going to come with two, null wave cannons that flip over his shoulder like the Armada version? Like, is he going to have a mixture of those? Like, so I'm very curious what they're going to do with that. It's a unique artistic choice, and it's a way to kind of use all those key characters again. And then by using those key characters again, you could then get some more mileage out of them. And again, for those who missed it last week, this is kind of some of the homages they're going with. Obviously, the two swords for Optimus, the Siege one here. You got the shoulder cannon with the large antennas for the old Diaclone, Kojin Ono design. Very, very cool. Very cool, all of this. Very, very cool. I dig it. I like that it's a different take. And again, MPG before, when we had MPG, the G stood for Gatai, which means combine in Japanese, or giant, because Gatai combiners were giants. And then, of course, Greto. And now MPG it's going to have a different take. It's now going to stand for generation. And that's kind of what Takar is going with, where the G stands for generation. So It literally is like a new era of Masterpiece, a new take on Masterpiece. High end figures of high quality that celebrate the brand in different ways. I just hope that we fill out that Beast Wars cast more. I hope that they venture outside of G1 and Beast Wars and give us some more obscure characters. But very exciting. Very, very exciting indeed. 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 And the last thing we're going to talk about is something that is a update from what we talked about that brought a lot of drama. Now, keep in mind before we get into this news, I know according to my YouTube analytics, about 91% of my listeners are Americans. Now, keep in mind, I, on the other hand, am Canadian. This is what's important to me all in one photo. I do not care about politics. I do not have an opinion of left or right, Democrat or Republican or any of that stuff. Everything I enjoy is in this photo right here, and that's all that matters to me. There's no Transformers, but you get what I'm trying to get at. So I just want to preface this right now before we get into talking about your president and everything like that. I do not have an opinion of negative or positive, you know? So just want to say that before we start, okay? So, what we talked about a few days ago. So, we had the tariff talk that was happening with Vietnam, and we had a lot of discussions of that and some worries of potentially what could happen to Transformer prices. There was some speculation of how those prices should be by some fans in the fandom who pretty much put some numbers together. But 2 days later, and this is on the right now on the screen as you're looking at it. Yeah, I should have put a Formula One car. You're right, James. I didn't make that image. That was someone who made that image, and I love it. So it's a really good image. It's everything that's important to Canadians. It has like Bret Hart, it has poutine, it has hot chicks, it has everything. Anyways, so 3 days later, the Wall Street Journal talked about how the Vietnam tariffs are probably not going to go through now. So any fears that we had for Transformers might be a little bit quelled. Now, keep in mind, though, I don't want to continue scaring people, but I'm going to pull one up from the archive here. Probably shouldn't use a Target exclusive. One moment. Ugh. Is it on here? Oh, it's on here. So, even though it's a Target, mind you, because it's also in Toys R Us Canada. So, unfortunately, packaging is still done in Canada. Now, what does that mean? I don't know, because there is Canadian tariffs. So if you want to blame prices somewhat increasing, I guess maybe blame the Canucks. I don't know, or blame Hasbro for wanting to do their packaging facility in Longueuil, Quebec, which is like literally 30 minutes from my house. But man, this thing is dusty. But yeah, so we're out. Chances are we're out of the Vietnam scare. That's looking pretty good. Um, but we're not out of the packaging scare. Oh, and by the way, I'm not an Oilers fan. If you look, there's the originals are up there. It's an animated GIF. You don't see all the Canadian jerseys. Gotta love Bret Hart though. You gotta have Moose's Bret Hart. It's all there. It's all good. Um, yeah, you guys are getting ads. Okay, I gotta look into that. Maybe I'll turn off ads completely when I do live streams. Because like you're not supposed to get ads when I'm live. You're supposed to get ads in the replays, and then it doesn't cut into the live. That's very weird. But yeah, don't worry about the tariffs. Like everything we talked about a few days ago, things have changed. This is how the world works. We get a piece of news, we talk about it here on the podcast, and then we have to do housekeeping a couple. That's why the Saturday live streams exist, because things change throughout the week. New information gets put out there, and that's that. So that's what's happening. So at least the Vietnam scare is okay. Transformer products or other toy products that are made outside of Vietnam, China, stuff like that, different story. So we're not out of the woods completely, but it is something where we do have some updates of that information. We do have some updates on it. I have a question. Have any YouTube members got any ads? I wonder if that's how that works. I don't know what YouTube is doing. I'm totally out of control of their madness. That's why I would say if you want to support the podcast, get ad blocker and then join the Patreon, and then I won't feel bad. If you're gonna block ads and not help support the pies, then join the Patreon or join the YouTube membership. But is YouTube membership? You got 3 ads, T-formers? Then what is going on? What is going on? That is weird. I'm gonna look into that because they gave me a huge warning that like in May they're gonna be putting all these random ads. So okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make sure that we're not monetized when we go live in the future. I'm gonna do that. We're gonna do that in the future, and then I could add the monetization afterwards. Good to know. Thank you, people. Maybe it's because it's April. Is this our first live stream in April? Hold on a second. It's true. This is the first live stream in April. Hmm. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. Very weird. Very, very weird. I don't know. Very, very weird. Anyways, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so hopefully the Vietnam thing works out. I mean, there's been a lot of drama and stuff, but it's in the end, it looks like everything's going to be okay. So don't worry about it. If you have your opinions on your president, that's fine, but that has nothing to do with the facts, people. That's all that I care about is the facts. Look, I'm not a big fan of my prime minister, but all I care about is the facts. I don't care about, his drama, you know? So it is what it is. And again, this is all that matters. And robots. So that's it, more or less, for the news. But we still have little things to talk about here and there. Got some cool stuff to talk about. Got some stuff I want to show you guys because we got some cool stuff. What's up, Mikey and Louie? And I think I saw one of my fellow Montrealers also. Hold on a second. I want to make sure I'm not seeing things. Sometimes the chat passes so quickly. Dramatic 24. Shout out to you, my friend. He's a fellow Montrealer artist. I thought I saw his name somewhere. T-Formers 2002. Aaron is getting ads a couple months back. Really? What the hell is going on then? What is going on then? I don't watch Aaron's live stream in the moment. I don't have time to, which, by the way, go check out Aaron's live stream yesterday. It's a really good one. He said something that even was like an aha moment for me. I don't want to say it. I don't want to spoil it, but go check out his live stream when we're done here. He had a really good one and a lot of Jiro in that one. Jiro is very hungry in that one. Oh, Butters isn't joining us today, or Tiny, my cats. They're somewhere. But yeah, so what did we got? Number one, last weekend, the reason why we didn't do a live stream Saturday night was because we did have Montreal High Score Con that I run. So I was at my convention, picked up a few things here and there, nothing too major. Uh, I guess I'll show you the weird thing I got first. I remember my sister who was at the show. She was like, "Why do you have?" So I bought this. Now you're probably going like, "What the hell did you buy here?" So when I was a kid back in the day, uh, they did macaroni and cheese Super Mario, which was, and we're talking, this is like 1991, 1990. And so Kraft did macaroni and cheese Super Mario, but Kraft, which is the company that makes mac and cheese, if you watch South Park, Kraft Dinner, as we call it, they also did Cheese Whiz, Super Mario Cheese Whiz. Look at that old Super Mario design there, the old red overalls. So this was a jar of Cheese Whiz shaped like Super Mario. I always wanted to get this, but if you look on eBay, you only find this, and this is disgusting. You find this sealed with the original 1990s Cheese Whiz still in it for like crazy amount of money. I always wanted to own this. I love collecting paraphernalia of vintage video game stuff, and this is just right up there. I paid 40 bucks Canadian for this. I don't care. I love this. This is super cool. But yeah, very stoked to pick this up. But it was hilarious because at the end of the day, we're closing up the con, and I had this on my table because now I can put it on my table and we're start closing up. My sister's like, "Why do you have a empty old thing of Cheese Whiz, and why did you pay 40 bucks for it?" You know, because it's awesome. That's why. Because it's awesome. The only other thing I got was I picked this up. So at High Score Con, sometimes we have indie developers or we have guys that work with distributors of indie developers and stuff. And Ninjatron, you had that, eh? But yeah, so we sometimes we have like indie developers or guys who are distributors for it, and there's a group of guys that are always making brand new Sega Genesis games. And I'm not a big Sega Genesis guy, but I do like to support them because they always make really cool stuff. And now they'll make like a new Sega Genesis game, brand new homebrew, and they'll make like a crazy packaging and stuff. So this was their newest one. I don't know if it's up for pre-order still. Secret of the Four Winds. It comes in like this giant box with all these extras and stuff. And then it even has this. It comes in this little thing here, this little pouch, and it's like this little wood thing. It says Secret of the Four Winds, and then you open it up and it's with a magnet clasp, and it has this little thing in here. And then it's Secret of the Four Winds, and it's a little magnet USB. If you don't want to play it on the cartridge on original hardware, you could play it. It has extras, bonuses, behind the scenes, sprites, music. Very cool. Again, that's like a boutique, like high end, vintage collector kind of thing. So if you're into that, so I think it's still on their website. If you again Google The Secret of the Four Winds, it's a Sega Genesis run and gun, brand new, very cool. So shout out to them. Pick that up at my show. Uh I guess I could count this too, but we'll talk about it afterwards maybe. This is something I got also at my show, but I'll talk about it later. Oh, we got a super chat. One moment. Got to move everything here. Any thoughts on OV, aka Grade 8, breaking Gretzky's record? Um, well, I'll say this, right? For people that want the context, Wayne Gretzky's record was broken recently. Ovi would have to also, in my opinion, to be as impressive, also have as much assists as Gretzky too. Gretzky wasn't a selfish player. For all the records that he has in hockey, he also has an insane amount of assists passing to Yari Curry, Mark Messier. I'm getting into hockey and I'm losing half of the audience here. So when Ovechek also gets all those assists, then we'll talk. Gretzky's still the greatest hockey player of all time, in my opinion. That's just my take. Um, but yeah, yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. When Gretzky broke, Gordie Howe's record, because that's who Gretzky had to beat prior to that. Gordie Howe was not a very good passer. So, like, Gretzky clearly could have had even more goals if he wanted to, but he was not a selfish player and he was really good. It's kind of the same thing with Michael Jordan. He wasn't that selfish. He was a selfish player in the beginning, but once he got Pippen, he stopped being a selfish player and he was much more just, we got to win. And that's all that matters. But yeah, so that's my take on that. So what else did I get? So here's the thing. So in Canada, everyone's like, oh, Canada's so lucky. They have Toys R Us. So since the holiday season has been over, the reports are out. The Q4 reports are out from Sunrise and the owners of Toys R Us here in Canada. Toys R Us isn't doing very well in Canada. And they are closing multiple locations. They're not closing all of them. They're just closing multiple. And the thing that's crazy is if you're a Quebecer or a Montrealer, the very first Toys R Us in all of Quebec, which has been around here for almost 40 years, is closing here because of that. And so they're liquidating their Toys R Us. I still have a few Toys R Us's, but now I have to drive like 20 minutes to get to it now. So it's going to be a little further away. If traffic is good, I'll get there in 20 minutes. But that's about it, you know? Um, so that being said, they did have some stuff on sale. They're doing 30% off. So all of their Sonic stuff is on crazy clearance. I'm not even that big a Sonic guy, but $5 Canadian a piece. I bought a bunch of these. I bought Eggman. I bought Super Sonic, Amy, Knuckles. I bought a whole bunch of these. And I might keep them. Maybe I like it because this is based off of the video game design and it has a little spin here. But I did buy extras. So I'm going to probably sit on these because at $5 Canadian a piece, I'd be stupid not to. And no one else was buying them, so I'm going to buy them all. I don't care. And then the second thing I bought was this. This was originally retailing for $20 Canadian. With the 30% off and stuff, it came to about $11, $12 Canadian. It's a Superpowers Nightwing. They never did an official Nightwing and Superpowers, the original back in the day. I love Dick Grayson Nightwing, so it was an excuse for me to pick one up. This one's kind of curved a little bit, but again, it's all dead stock that they have. And you know, Toys R Us is the one near me is finally going under, so it is what it is. But there are a whole bunch of them are going under in Montreal. Four different locations are going under. The one in the West Island is going under. The one near Agrignon Mall. So go get them while you can, man. Go get them while you can. You know, Toys R Us. Yeah, I was literally so Rudy Mack. I saw some Legacy United deluxes, and I was like, I never got this one and this one. 30% off. Let's see how much it'll. Yeah, $50 a deluxe. Oh, yeah, not happening. Not happening. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. Let that slide. I value my look. Don't let all these Transformers behind you fool you. I didn't pay full price for any of this stuff. The odd like Robot Master Japanese thing. Some of these like titaniums. Yeah, I paid full price, but in general, I always wait. I always wait unless it's like a must-have character, like a Hot Rod or like a Nitro Convoy or something, or a female character that hasn't gotten a decent figure in years and she might be difficult to get later. But in general, man, you know. What else? What else? What else? Oh, forgot to mention this. So when I was actually at my show too, my pops swung by, and my dad, he's still a picker. He still goes to garage sales and flea markets and everything, and he picked this up. I don't know what he paid. Probably didn't pay much because he always gets these cheap at places. I slowly am trying to get all of these guys. I think I'm missing one or two. You know what's amazing? It's still the batteries still work. I probably should take the batteries out though, but you can hear the batteries dying. But I'm gonna take the batteries out of this sucker. But I don't even know. Was this Revenge of the Fallen? Looks like it might have been Revenge of the Fallen because the first Cyber Stompers, there was only two for 2007, but then they made a whole bunch of them during Revenge of the Fallen. So, and I've been slowly collecting all the ones I missed throughout the years now and just putting them in the movie display. So yeah, another Bumblebee Cyber Stomper gimmicky spinning hand thingy, whatever, gun toyetic, whatever. He probably paid $2 Canadian, knowing him. So very cool. Thank you, Pops. Oh, now it makes noise when I put it down. Oh, there we go. Um, where are we at here? CW. Truth is, true slow death is because we all buy online. Yeah, and number one, Canadian prices are pretty crazy for Transformer product to begin with. True is always also a little more expensive than other retailers. It is what it is. That's why when people are like, "Man, you're so lucky you still have Toys R Us in Canada." I'm like, We were never lucky to have Toys R Us in Canada." You know, I was I still to this day take trips to the States and buy stuff at American currency with the exchange rate because it's still cheaper. It's still cheaper. I could buy a deluxe class for almost $50 with Canadian taxes. Don't forget our Canadian taxes. With Canadian taxes, it comes to like $57 for a deluxe. Or I go to Target, which is literally 45 minutes away from my door. I cross the border, go to Target in the States, and pick up that same deluxe for $24.99 plus New York taxes, which is like what? Like 6%, 7% sales tax? Way cheaper. Way cheaper. So can't even compare. Can't even compare. JR Mina, speaking of Hot Rod Proto, will you be getting the Agmus Machinimus Rodimus? I would like to. It's very expensive, but I would like to. I'll probably get it at some point. That's something, if I see it in person at TFCon, I might pick it up because those are big items that are very expensive to ship. So sometimes I go like, if I see it in person and I could get it and put it into a suitcase, I'll make that. Every TFCon, like, and it's thanks to you guys, honestly. You guys come to my booth, you buy the little exclusives that I make or whatever, and then I buy myself one big fancy item. You guys support me, you know, I give you guys content that I hope you enjoy. And then I buy myself like like my big item was, and I still have it near here because I love it so much. You know, I bought the battle base from Machine Robo. That was my big purchase that weekend. You know, Not crazy expensive, but that was my big purchase that weekend from from you guys supporting the podcast and everything. So so that's it. It might be my big purchase that weekend if I see one and I like it. We'll see. We'll see. I don't buy a lot at the shows. I buy this and that. That's cool that I'm missing. Horned Owl to me, big bots are minions of the of animated Rekgar. Well, I mean, some of the more messy ones I can imagine. I could see that working. Horned Owl. I could see that. You need all the food ones too. You got to get a food truck one. Mikey and Louie, are we going to get more Infernac figures? Our Rock Lord section needs to grow. Well, I don't know how well those sold, but the fact that we're not seeing it return might be a sign of that. I would love more Rock Lord stuff, to be honest, but that's just me. T-Formers 2002. I have a vivid memory of getting Revenge of the Fallen Voyager Demolisher for $22 retail. I'd have to pull up my retail sheet, but you might be right. If I remember correctly, actually, you could just go check my segment that I did a few days ago. 2000 Demolishor, which was Revenge of the Fallen, there was a price spike for Voyager classes. So you might be right. It might be $22 or maybe a little more. All the numbers that I based it on were based on current Walmart numbers and Toys R Us a little bit, depending on what I could get of the information, going all the way back to Beast Wars, old message boards when people were talking about it, like the old ATT days. So that's kind of where I got all those numbers and personal experience. Uh, and I think that's it for stuff I got outside of one thing. I want to make sure I got, yeah, that's everything. But there is one more thing I got, and it was something I got at the show. Is my buddy Jules, aka Pulse Dragon, hooked me up with it. But first, let's talk sponsors. We'll cover the sponsors because they keep the lights on in the podcast. We'll start with Symbiote Studios, the plush, the pins, the t-shirts. Rocking the Optimus Catnip Bravo today. Also got a beautiful little Slag pin that you could only get at their booth at San Diego Comic Con and TFCon. So if you were at TFCon and you didn't get a Slag pin, because you got to support the podcast, that's how you get those. They don't have it on their website, unfortunately. From what I was told, Hasbro has a problem with sharp stuff being sold with plushes. So I forget what the story was with that. You'd have to ask Symbiote Studios, but there was some kind of licensing thing where you can't have a pin included with a plush for Hasbro licenses. They could do it with other licenses, but more specifically that one. That's why a lot of the other plushes that you buy with Symbiote Studios, they come with pins and it's no problem. But yeah, so if you want to get a Slag pin or some of the other pins that they have that are Transformer related, you have to catch them at their shows. They will be at San Diego Comic Con coming up in late July. So plan that out. I will be there too. But yeah, plush pins and t shirts, whatever's available on their website, they will be getting more stock in May. So stay tuned for that. But there's still some stuff available on their site right now. A whole bunch of reveals are coming. Stay tuned for that. There's going to be a big drop of brand new Transformer plushes going into the second half of 2025. So stay tuned for that. I do not know if they want to wait for San Diego Comic Con to do those big reveals because that's where everyone does their big reveals. But we will see. But I do know for sure one of them that's going to be revealed before San Diego is going to be their exclusive. So stay tuned for that. San Diego Comic Con exclusive plush. Last one sold out. The one before that sold out. Good old Unicron over here sold out. So get it while you can. Get it while you can with the beautiful plushes. And of course, one that you do know is the Starscream. That is going to be coming in time for San Diego. So if you want Starscream, we had a preview supply of those at TFCon LA. So the people who were able to get those, I think there was like 25 units. So the people who got those 25 units, congratulations, you got something ahead of the rest of the world. And of course, all their other stuff, their pins and plushes. Hey, look, if you get the Shovel Knight plush, it comes with a Shovel Knight pin. So that's popping off. There's that too. Uh, Airy Nuts with the $2 super chat. I'll get to you in a moment. Airy Nuts. Don't worry. Air those nuts in the meantime. Giggity. And then, of course, My Little Pony. Apparently, they're going to be releasing a giant size Rainbow Dash, like a huge one. That's like a huge, huge one. So it's like a life size Rainbow Dash. So check that out on their website, Symbiote Studios. I'm not in the know of ponies, but they did tell me that they're making giant size Rainbow Dash and a whole bunch of other stuff too. Again, their pony stuff sells like crazy, so good for them. And then, of course, the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. Again, go check out Aaron's segment that he did yesterday, a very good live stream. A lot of good stuff talking about waves and how you have colors and paint decos and how you have to balance it across a wave and all kinds of stuff. There's some Batman talk in there too. Really good live stream. And if you just want to see a pussycat, Jiro is all over that because he was really hungry that day. But go check it out. And of course, our latest segment on the Toy Armada, we talk about Kicker, we talk about the deluxe class High Wire, we talk about Alpha Quintesson. Really good talk, awesome stuff. Again, if you're not surprised, why are you subscribed to this channel and not subscribed to Aaron's channel? Go check it out. Throw it in your Google machine, throw it in your YouTube search algorithm, the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. And here's some more Posca paintings. Apparently last week some stuff sold, so these are the ones that are available. I think T-Formers bought the lockdown one. I don't know who bought the lockdown. That one disappeared very quickly. So here's an update. Here's some new ones that are on there. Go check those out if you want to buy some Posca paintings from archermonster.com/shop. And of course, some high end paintings if you want those too. Ignore the tidal wave. I have to remove that from this slide. I keep forgetting. He has the tidal wave. He has the Unicron. He's working on some new ones too. Check those out again. Also on there, some beautiful museum level paintings. Some of those were purchased at TFCon LA. Some people went home with one of a kind art pieces, looking real good. And of course, then we got the Bin Studios Unicron upgrade kit. Do you want to turn your Unicron in 2-in-1? Were you a sucker like me that only bought one HasLab Unicron because we don't want to mortgage our house in order to do that? Yeah, go get yourself a Bin Studios upgrade kit, binstudios.iwarp.com. Turn your Unicron into that. If after you buy the kit, contact them. They will send you a YouTube video showing you how to install the kit properly. Mikey and Louie put together a really good YouTube video that makes it really quick and easy. And you could get the ring set, you could get the wing set, and you could have your 2-in-1 and have both on display like I do. That's how I have mine on display. I have my Unicron in my big glass case, and I have the planet mode nearby me right here because he just looks so cool in planet mode. Yeah, yeah. And well, before I'll do the last thing, we'll answer Airy Nuts' question. Any chance of an Energon weapon pack? Well, I mean, if they do more Energon characters, it would be cool if they do something similar to like what they did with that weapon pack. What was the looked like the Scion? What was it called? The Centurion unit. They did that one. Century unit. I think it was Century unit. What did they call it? It was the gray repaint. Um, T-Formers 2000 Symbiote, Rainbow Dash versus Symbiote Unicron. Seriously, they'd both be huge. You know, they'd both be absolutely huge. But yeah, check those out. Check those out. What's for dinner, Proto? Should move the screen here. I have two screens. That's how I see all your questions. There we go. What's for dinner? A lot of stuff actually. My mother-in-law, because now we were having decent weather here in Canada, so she busted out the barbecue. And when my mother-in-law makes barbecue, you're eating for days. She made like Vietnamese style chicken, which has like sao su flavoring and stuff. I'm just drooling just talking about it. She made kum tum bi, which is like an aged meat that's flavored and everything, mixed with rice and stuff and soy. It's incredible. She made like these garlic greens and stuff that she also kind of flavors and stir fry. She made stir fried rice. She made a whole bunch of stuff. We go to visit her, and then she gives us tons of leftovers, and then we eat it over the next 2 days because it's so good. And you just throw it, you throw it in the oven, you reheat it. It's amazing. So we're gonna be eating that over the next 2 days. I did buy some other stuff on the side. I bought some chicken legs and stuff that I'm probably gonna make later this week and everything, and chicken breast. But again, did I did I date Asian and marry Asian just so I could get the food? Maybe, maybe, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, it's how it works, you know? Eat good. Yeah, so that's kind of what's for dinner tonight. A lot of Centurion drone. Thank you, Gooder. Yeah, they did like a weapon pack with that one. So I can imagine they could do something like if we get ever more Omnicons and Terracons, like modern versions of it, there's an easy excuse to do a weapon pack. They'll do like and look, you get to keep the strong arm trademark alive. You do Omnicon strong arm, because that's what the first Omnicon was called, that little Jeep guy. And then you do the blue repaint. And the blue repaint could be a Generation Selects exclusive that comes with a weapon pack. That means anyone who is questioning buying the blue repaint has to buy it now because of the weapon pack. And then we could get an amazing update of Dive Bomb, because Dive Bomb is one of the most amazing Terracons ever made. If you've never got the Dive Bomb figure, which is the bird one from Energon, you are missing out. That is an incredibly designed figure, and it was plentiful. There's tons of a great figure. What a great figure. Sorry for making you guys hungry, but you people ask these questions. I'm going to give it. I'm not going to say like terrible things. And the last thing that I got, my buddy Julian, I forgot to mention this. My buddy Julian at the Montreal High Score Con, he hooked me up with Preview Magazine, good old Preview Magazine. And the reason why he hooked me up with it was, and this is important to me because, you know, I just want to give context. As a kid, I didn't have a lot of money growing up. Money was pretty thin growing up. And one thing that I valued as a kid, especially in the late 90s and late 80s, early 90s, I loved Preview Magazine, was because I used to go to this store called Captain Quebec. It was like our local comic store. And they would always get rid of their old Preview magazines. And to me, it was like a phone book of free comic book stuff. And, I couldn't afford $3 comic books, $2 comic books back in the 90s, but I could get free Preview magazines. And back in the day, also, Preview magazines also had like promo trading cards and stuff. I still have a lot of the old ones from the 90s. I kept all of them because I just had such a fondness for them. What's cool about Preview magazine is that's all the latest comic books coming out. And now for me to be featured in it, we've gone full circle. So dreams do come true. Dreams do come true. And there I am in Preview Magazine. So very, very cool. Not the best cover, Thundercats with the Powerpuff Girls, but sure, it is what it is. So again, for a reminder for people, coming June 18th, 2025, Mega Man X Timelines, issue number 1. Written by me with amazing art by Edwin Hung, and also amazing colors by Joshua Perez, friend of the podcast of many, many, many years. And I've worked with Josh for many, many years. So check that out. Go to your local comic book shop and just ask them, can you pre-order for me Udon Entertainment's Mega Man X Timelines number 1 by that doofus Proto Man. And yeah, there's going to be 5 different colors. There's actually going to be 6 different covers. Stay tuned for that. But there's 5 different covers right now that are up for pre-order. The first one on the top left is the one that truly represents the art style. I mean, I don't want to sound biased, but I'm super excited about working on this. It's going to come out really good. I can't imagine people not liking what I'm going to be doing here. Like I am a ridiculously huge fan of Mega Man. If the name didn't give it away, my screen name has been Proto Man since the beginning of the internet, which is like 1996. So it should give you any indication that I've been a huge fan of these games forever. And I want to do something that the fans will truly love. You know, I want to do something that they will appreciate. And anyone that's, revisiting the Mega Man brand for the first time, it's something that's not unfamiliar either. And when you're talking video games and telling a narrative, that's all we want to do. And there's a story to be told there, and it's fantastic stuff. So check that out again. June 18th, 2025 is when it'll hit your local comic book stores, but you could pre-order it right now at your local comic book stores. Go into your comic store, they'll take Preview Magazine. You'll literally just tell them and you'll go like, hey, I want this. And then this is what they do. They open up this book and then they're going to go to the page and then they're going to get the product code and then they're going to order it. And again, if you want a little spoiler here, We're doing the spoilers right here because it kind of gave away what the story is a little bit. We're doing the very first Maverick. So if you are playing Mega Man X, who's the first Maverick that you would choose to fight? So that would be your little spoiler there. Mayoral Fabrication, I will be doing a autograph signing. I actually have to. It's not that I wanted it, I'm forcing it. I have to do an autograph signing with Edwin at the Capcom Udon booth at San Diego Comic Con. We have something scheduled there. I don't know the times yet. That's still months away, but there is something cooking planned for that. And I hope to also have some available in time for TFCon Toronto. I would really love it if I could get nice fat stacks of them for TFCon Toronto. Luckily, Udon's head office is in Toronto, so I'm going to try to get something done in time. So for people that are going to be in the Toronto area and come and see FCon, you might also get an opportunity to pick it up. But I mean, at the end of the day, go to your local comic shop and pre-order it. That's the safest bet. You know, that's the safest bet, 100% to do that. As for digital, because people are asking, so Udon's stance is a comic comes out and they want to support local comic book stores. So what they do is when a comic comes out, the physical version is available for 6 months before a digital version exists. So they do that instead. So I heavily suggest if you want to get it, waiting for a digital version, it's kind of pointless, Get the physical one. It supports local comic book shops, it keeps them open, and in all honesty, like that's the best way to go about it, you know? And then, then you can look if you don't like it. Look, you buy the physical one, you read it once, and then you sell it. What do you want me to tell you? Then you get your money back, I guess. So that's one way to do it. Um, so it's something like that. So that I hope that answers that question. But yeah, like we will do something. I'm going to try to get something in time for TFCon Toronto, and then obviously by San Diego Comic Con we'll have everything, and then Montreal Otakuthon will have a booth there too, hopefully, and we're gonna. This is gonna be a big tour of stuff. This is gonna be happening for a good chunk of time, people. So stay tuned for that. Rudy Mack with the YouTube member question. Thanks for the Transformers finance segment on Thursday. And then Rudy Mack then follows it up with a super chat. And when I was listening to the finance segment, I almost crashed my vehicle listening to it with the estimated price changes. Again, those estimated price changes, those were from an individual who knows retail, but didn't really know how it was going to get rolled out. But those estimated price changes, keep in mind, are based on what news that happened again prior to updated news, which I'm just trying to scroll to it right now, which is I reported that when the news was on the left there. And then 3 days later, we got an update literally like last night that Vietnam is not going to get the tariffs. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. But like I said, there still is little idiosyncrasies. There still is the packaging thing. And then again, there's other Hasbro products that are not made in Vietnam. And then there's Transformer products that are not made in Vietnam that are not like our mainline stuff. Like certain masterpieces are still made in China, certain high end items. So we're not out of the woods completely, but at least in terms of like age of the primes, we're good for now, I guess. But if there is an update, if there is something new, we'll let you know. You know that here on the podcast, we'll let you know for sure. I'm glad, again, people love the finance segments. I would love to do them more, but it's only when it makes sense. I don't want to force news, when it's not needed. You know what I mean? People were surprised I didn't do an April Fool's thing. It's like I don't do that. Like you guys come to me for legitimate facts and stuff, so I'm not going to do the April Fool's thing, but it's something where the finance segments, when I really feel there's something to talk about, there's money to be saved, there's an opportunity here. I don't like it when fans go out of their way to pay exuberant amounts of money for something if they could get a cheaper, alternative. My buddy Goober, like he spent insane amount of money trying to get all those Dinobots from Studio Series, and it's like now like the amount of money that he spent on all of those Dinobots in the secondary market, he probably could have got like the entire wave of Age of the Primes or something, or like, it's insane what he paid, but you know, It is what it is, though, unfortunately. But it's just, I again, that's why I do those segments. I want you guys to always be educated and know that patience always does pay off. I mean, there's very few Transformer toys that I could think of that waiting screwed you. And the truth of the matter is that the amount of money that you save, the insane amount of money that you're going to save waiting, that one or two items that gets away, well, then you could take a small fraction of that you saved and put it towards that upsell. Oh no, Lancer got away, or Green Light. Oh my God, Greenlight is going for crazy money now. Okay, that one that did get away, that didn't go on clearance or on sale on Amazon. Okay, you got me there. The hundreds of thousands that you're going to save being patient, take a little bit of that and put it towards Lancer if it's so important to you. Or like I don't know, I'm trying to think of like some other examples, but so many times it's like, "Oh my God, look how much this Earthrise mold is going for." Then you wait a year. Just got reissued or repainted or a Japanese release, and you save money, you know, and you save money. So it is what it is. Ashnode, you only wait to buy comics in trade paperback form. I don't know when a trade paperback form of that will happen because see, the problem with trade paperback forms is I agree with you, it's the most ideal way to read it. But if people wait for trade paperbacks, that means the singles don't sell, the floppies. If the floppies don't sell, why would they make a trade paperback of an individual comic that doesn't have numbers that sold? You know what I mean? So there's like a catch 20 with that, unfortunately. It's always dangerous to play that game. I buy the floppies of books that I really like, and trade paperbacks, I only really buy them if like they make like a fancy hardcover edition or something, like Infinity Gauntlet. They did a good omnibus of that. So I bought that, and Ultimates, and a few Wolverine omnibuses too. They make nice little versions of it. Ashnode, Marvel Legends is pretty similar, but I don't wait on anything that is Target exclusive. They sell out quickly and do not restock. Well, yeah, it's again a catch 20. Sometimes you have Target exclusives that don't sell out, and then they up going on crazy clearance, and then you bank, and then they go up again afterwards. That happens a lot. So it's hard to measure it. Uh, Siege Skywarp comes out in August. Siege Skywarp. I think we missed something there. Modutron, hey Proto, do you plan on getting the new Masterverse, new Eternio Roboto figure? I always, whenever there's a new Roboto anything, I always think about it. It does look cool. I'm not a big He-Man guy, but even that Thundercats crossover Cringer, that's like anthropomorphic. I'm almost tempted to pick up that one just because of how funny it is. She actually is more of like a He-Man, but more She-Ra, like obviously because she loves her 80s properties that she grew up with. She's like, there's honestly in this house, there's probably more She-Ra merchandise and He-Man stuff because of her than there is because of me, because of Mister over here, which I always keep on I always keep because I have like two of these, so I always keep one nearby just because it's a good. I just love that. I don't know why, it's just something about it. Good old turning gears. So cool. Just love them. Love you, Roboto. Love them. Uh, why lag? Why? I think they produce a lot less units when they're Target exclusives. Marvel Legends. Well, again, it's how many Targets are there in the United States? Those Targets obviously have to buy that much amount of units to fill all their stores. They buy it up front. There's always going to be less because it's a smaller market now. There's less people buying action figures. Not to mention, it was back in the day, like, we could go back to 2007. Oh, we have Target exclusive 2007 movie toys, which are repaints of Energon toys. But this is a time when kids were still a big part of the toy buying market. Those Target exclusives were the Energon Omnicons, so they were significantly smaller, so they were smaller price points. I think those things were, gosh, I want to say like $8.99 a unit. I think they were like $8.99 or something like that. They were really cheap. So you could get more of them. They probably came in cases of 8. I'd have to look into that. But there was so much more of it. Now it's like Target exclusives, you're starting at like 24 to 29 to 30, you know, already like just the bar is so high, the investment is so high. A store manager might only get one or two cases because it's like, ooh, I don't know if it's a dud. Yeah, you could say, oh, it sells out. But what if it's a dud? They don't know that. They look at a figure and go, who is this? So it's tough. It's really tough to kind of pull that. T-Formers 2002 Roboto has the same charm as the Mech Tech with the internal gears. Oh, totally. Just no lights and sounds. But he has like, again, it's just look at that. Look at that. Isn't that the coolest thing in the world? Isn't that the coolest thing ever? I'm a simple man. And he's got the colors of what's his name? What's his name from the Action Masters? Oh my God, why am I blanking on him? Oh gosh, why am I blanking on his name? Oh my God, I love him too. Push buttons is his. This shows how bad it is. I know his push buttons is his little Action Master buddy. Oh gosh, what is wrong with me? Why am I blanking right now? I'm tired. Someone will say it in the chat. And there's ads. No, what's with the ads, man? Mikey and Louie ever getting a reissue of the Earthrise Prowl? I think so. I think so. You're going to get a studio. You know what's going to happen? They're going to do a Studio Series 86 Prowl, and that'll be that. You know, why don't we have it right now? Mainframe. Thank you, Mototron. Mainframe Entertainment. Beast Wars. And reboot. Uh, I think the only reason why we're just not getting an Earthrise Prowl right now is just because they don't need to do anything with that Prowl trademark. They're just like, hey, why don't we just wait? We just did that, the animated Prowl, and then we did the Death of Prowl box set. We have enough Prowl right now. Let's wait it out, you know? And rightfully so. If I was in the business situation, I would do the same. I'd wait it out, which you should do too. Just wait it out. Mike Prime 21 Proto. Who is your guess for Titan class for 2026? Mine's a Super Ultra Megatron. That would be a good companion piece to Star Convoy. I mean, the one that we got back through Generations in Japan through Takara was pretty good also. But that'd be a good guess. And again, having a main villain like a Megatron be the big expensive price point is always a safe bet in terms of sales. Earthspark Prowl too. You're right, T-Formers. That was the Hot Rod repaint. Um, it's something where that's a good guess. To me, considering that if Titan classes continue being that $150 price point and smaller, the problem is that I haven't held Star Optimus Prime, Star Convoy in person, so I need to really know what's his weight, the pieces, the prices, the dimensions. If if Star Convoy is exactly like our very first commander, like if you our very first commander was Jetfire. Jetfire was big, heavy, he had all this internal mechanisms, he had all this like armor pieces, and then he had all those blast effects and everything. I'm getting that vibe from Star Convoy, Star Optimus. With the Micromaster Hot Rod, which is the whole reason I even want it to begin with. Um, so if it's like smaller but much more dense, I could see one of many things, maybe the Megatron and make it bigger, and then it comes with, one of his like side dudes, the Gallic men, which came with from Dark Nova, like the Dark Nova, minions. Do like some kind of like little side thing of that, and then you could justify that commander class price point, or which large commander, small Titan, you know. So that's how I imagine it. But yeah, Star Convoy's hype. It's just I'm waiting to get him in person and for a good price. That's about it, really. I'm not too worried about him though. He's an optimist, so a lot of people are going to buy him. And if failing all of that, I feel that there's going to be a few extra Micromaster hot rods in the secondary market. So then I'll just also pick that up on the side if somehow I don't get it, because it's all about that little Micromaster hot rod for me. That's the big part of it. Although again, I own the original. Oh, you can't even see him in the box in the way, but I own the original Star Convoy. I own the reissue, so I own the Kabaya kit that they did recently in the past 10 years. I'll buy that one too. It comes with the Zodiac. I think that's a big deal for me too. Those little storytelling element pieces matter also. So that's really cool. That's really really cool. Oh my God, we have 1 minute left in the live stream. I didn't realize everything passed quickly. All right, we got 1 minute left, so we'll try to get one or two more questions in. In the meantime, while we're waiting for that, I want to say thank you for being part of the Transformer Slag podcast this evening. We are back doing Saturday nights. Aaron will be back doing his Fridays. Go check out Aaron's live stream if you haven't already on Friday nights. He did a really good one talking about all kinds of stuff in the toy industry and a lot of really cool cat stuff too. I'm a dog person more than a cat person. I just happen to have two cats. Oh, and look who's here actually. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Look who's here. Butters. How you sleeping? He just snuck in. You snuck in, boy. But yeah. So again, thank you for all the love and support. Once again, if you want to support the podcast, check out the Patreon link down below. Patreon is the best way to support the podcast. Keeps the lights on and everything, and keeps us going because YouTube has ad blocks. YouTube has all kinds of random stuff. You never know what's going to happen with YouTube. You never know what's going to happen with YouTube. So Patreon is what always keeps me safe. It's what always keeps me safe. I always feel if one day if I ever get to like $1,000 a month on Patreon, I'll just get rid of ads completely. I'll just cut it off and I'll be happy with that because I'd be happy with I don't need more than that, you know. But we'll see. We will see. We will see. But again, Patreon's the best way to support the podcast. If Patreon isn't your thing and you can't do Patreon, the beautiful green names that you saw this evening of James and who else? Gooder and Patrick Brown and Will Murphy and Ashnut and I don't want to miss anybody. Y and T Formers 2002 and Mikey and Louie and Rudy Mack and anyone else who's going to pop up that I'm seeing at this moment. Um, that's another way also you could support the podcast is through that is doing the YouTube membership, Patreon, or you could do Mikey and Louie does the double dip. Patreon, YouTube membership, you get all kinds of different advantages and cool stuff. You know what's up. You know what's up. That's it more or less. Look, Butters, everyone's saying good night to you too. All right, guys, thank you for all the love and support. It looks like we are done for tonight. Again, support all the guys, you know, Toy Armada, Symbiote Studios, thanks for the love. Again, Hasbro, thanks for all the love too. Take care, everyone. Take care of your loved ones, your friends, your family. It's a beautiful world out there. Don't be stressed with all the stuff that news says to you. Look what happens. We read the news and then things change and there was no drama in the end. It is what it is. I'm going to go be Canadian and have some good food, and I'll talk to you in the near future. Roll out.